Now to a CBS News Chicago investigation. When a child finds a gun and kills themselves, was it an accident or was it preventable? That's been one mom's journey in Northwest Indiana after it happened to her 4-year-old son. Our Hickey follows her uphill battle to get change and accountability.
Eric would have been all about it. Daddy, take me for a ride. That's the cool car.
It'll never get easier. Coming out of it.
Okay. He was into cars, like the movie cars. A lot of these that are like faded are ones that have been out here. I can still remember, like, literally laying down on the ground.
August 5th, 2017. It was a Saturday morning for Kandice Cole and her family.
Both me and my husband had to work. My friend, who was also my boss, volunteered to babysit for the first half of the day.
Hello, kids. Shall we do a video?
And I just never thought to ask, do you have a gun? Is it locked up? And that's one of the main things that I wish I could go back and tell myself.
Pet dinosaur. He's the coolest.
What kind of gun was it? Like, is it a BB gun? And he's like, no. And he told me it was a .40 caliber handgun.
2 weeks before his 5th birthday.
We planned a birthday party and ended up planning a funeral.
Eric Cole's babysitter admitted that he did not properly secure his handgun in his Winfield home on that morning in 2017. According to court records, Eric found the loaded gun and shot himself while the gun owner's fiance went to the bathroom. He was found by the fiance and his then 7-year-old sister.
They were just saying it was just an accident.
That word,
it was just a horrible accident.
Describing shootings like the one that killed her son as an accident rather than something that can be prevented only deepens Kandice's pain.
And we weren't okay accepting that.
These shootings are part of a larger story of gun violence in Indiana. The nonpartisan nonprofit Everytown ranked Indiana as one of the states with the weakest gun safety laws. In 2023, Indiana had at least 27 unintentional shootings by children under 18 years old, resulting in 9 deaths, according to Everytown. That's nearly twice the totals found in next door Illinois, where safe gun storage is required by law. Looking at the big picture, the numbers are even more alarming. We analyzed CDC data over a 20-year period. From 1999 to 2020, there were 804 children under 18 years old killed by guns in Indiana. This could be homicide, suicide, or unintentional shootings like Eric's. Nearly 24%, or 191, were in his community alone, Northwest Indiana. The rate of kids killed by guns in Northwest Indiana is double the national rate.
I woke up with 2 kids and I had to go to sleep with only 1.
It's so bad that some lawmakers,
we've all mourned with community members, we've all attended rallies,
have attempted to pass laws aimed at holding gun owners accountable if they don't safely secure their gun and a child gets a hold of it. Indiana is one of 24 states that don't have a law requiring firearms be stored, locked, and unloaded.
We're suggesting safe storage.
Indiana State Rep Maureen Bauer says it was a challenge even to pass this law last year that requires all Indiana public schools to send home information about how to safely store a firearm in a home where children are present. Just a suggestion, not a requirement.
Every policymaker should have to explain why that is the fact and why they aren't willing to change it. It's happening in every community. It's not just blue districts.
So who would be opposed to even the suggestion of a firearm storage law? While the NRA's website says it supports storing firearms in a responsible manner, the organization also publicly encourages members to oppose laws and proposed bills that strengthen storage accountability. The argument? That storage requirements could prevent gun owners from easily accessing their firearms, which they say is unconstitutional.
I think it's very easy to get those two issues conflated. We're talking about preventing the death of children, which we all agree shouldn't be happening.
Live from Westville, Indiana, the U.S. Senate debate.
Kandice Cole even got the courage to ask Indiana Senate candidates to commit to legislation to hold negligent gun owners criminally liable during a debate in 2018, including then Republican Senator, now Governor-elect Mike Braun.
My 4-year-old son Eric was killed at a babysitter's house when they left a fully loaded handgun unsecured and easily accessible to children. Would you support and would you sponsor a bill passing safe storage laws, also known as child access prevention laws?
But even she struggled to get a commitment.
When it comes to things like storage and so forth, I think the places where we've tried to use gun laws generally impact the folks that are law-abiding. I was the individual here that's getting the NRA endorsement, and proud of it, because I think they want to make sure your Second Amendment rights are never infringed.
What do you mean? I'm not talking about the Second Amendment. I'm talking about kids accessing guns.
The gun owner in Eric's case served less than 2 years in the Department of Corrections after pleading guilty to reckless homicide and criminal recklessness, followed by work release. He faced no gun-related charges.
Was that enough for you?
No. We didn't want it to just be a slap on the wrist and you get probation, because we didn't get a slap on the wrist.
If Eric's death happened in California, for example, his babysitter could have been charged with an additional criminal storage of a firearm charge and faced up to 3 years in prison. And if convicted on a first-degree felony, would be banned from owning a gun for life. Meanwhile, Kandice is part of the Be Smart awareness campaign to promote responsible gun ownership in order to reduce child gun deaths, which she says aren't accidents, but entirely preventable.
If it could have been in a safe or unloaded,
You'd still have a son.
I would, yep. I sure would, and he'd be 12.
Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. Today we're gonna be doing a video.
Our inscription that we picked said, "If tears could build a stairway and memories a lane, I'd walk right up to heaven and bring you home again."
I want to save other parents the heartache. I want to save other kids. Like, I wasn't able to save him.
The Centers for Disease Control recommends storing guns locked, unloaded, and separate from ammunition to prevent gun deaths like Eric's. If you need a gun lock, many local police departments offer them for free. Megan Hickey, CBS News Chicago Investigators.
Megan, thanks.